The Northman is awesome. This is the story of a young Viking prince whose father is murdered, so he makes vengeance, and avenging his father the main goal of his life. This is from Robert Eggers, who's done The Witch and The Lighthouse. I've seen The Witch, I haven't seen The Lighthouse yet, but from what I hear that's a good movie, and The Witch was a good movie as well. And this film stars Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy, Ethan Hawke, Willem Dafoe. It's got a great cast and a very capable filmmaker, so that's a very strong pull for this movie. Now, this film is pretty intense, and it seems loyal to what Vikings were like. I don't know my Viking history, but it seems like they really delved into what Vikings did, what they were like, the rituals that they went through, the fact that they kind of embraced being an animal, acting like a wolf or a bear, and the film doesn't try to remain fully grounded. This film contains visions, hallucinations, conversations with gods and witches, and there's a heavy theme of the idea of fate and destiny. Now, of course, with themes like this, there's a chance it can actually take away from the film because it isn't grounded as much as, just a typical historic piece. So initially when watching it, it does come across as like a little bit strange, a little bit odd, like what is really going on here? But it's as the film progresses, when the first act is done, the groundwork is laid, that you really start to see this film come into its own. After this first act, I was hooked. It's just in that first act, it is good, but it had me a little bit worried that it might be style over substance for the entire movie. Like, is it actually going to tell a good story, or is it just going to delve into what Vikings were like? But as it progressed, it ended up being style and substance. It had both in, bundles, and it was just such a good movie. It tells a great story with great acting from everyone involved, and it has a protagonist that you can really get behind. I could praise all the actors in here for different reasons, because they were all just brilliant in their unique roles. But Alexander Skarsgård takes first place here, he takes first prize. He was just so good. He really pulls you in. He feels like a Viking. I guess it kind of helps that, he did look like one in this movie as well, but he really felt like a Viking. You felt that sort of rage within him. You felt that he was driven by vengeance, and he was very, very easy to support, and you want him to win. But not far behind was Anya Taylor-Joy. She was really good in this. Obviously, she did The Witch with Robert Eggers as well, but she was just really good in this. She continues to just always be solid in every movie that I see her in, and she's easily one of the best actresses out there. And the way this film is paced and structured, it makes it very easy to follow. There's always a risk that it might be tough to follow a story like this, a film like this. There's a risk of losing clarity of the entire story and just not really understanding what's going on and why things are happening. But this, you won't get lost at all. It's easy to follow, but it doesn't mean it treats you like an idiot and spoon feeds you everything, but it's just very well told. And at no point did the film really falter. It just kept a strong momentum. It continued to build. It continued to get more exciting as you knew something was going to pop off, but you're not quite sure when. And this film throws in a twist, a surprise that I didn't expect, I didn't see coming. And I was surprised by it when it hit, and it's at a point where you think where this movie is going and how it's going to end, how the story is going to wrap up, and it completely sort of diverges. And that was good that was in there, because it actually surprises you in that moment, and you think, oh my god, what is our protagonist going to do now? The only thing I thought that was partly lacking was the fact that I think we needed more of an exploration of the relationship between this Viking prince and his father when his father was still alive, and that means when the Viking prince was still a boy. I think it would have been nice if they'd fleshed that relationship out just a little bit more. It was certainly enough, I would say, to, understand his love for his father, why he felt the need to avenge him, but I also think a little bit more time, would have just amplified it, made it stronger, and made our support for the protagonist even stronger than it was. And it was strong, he's a very good protagonist, but a little bit more of that relationship to really understand what drives him. But honestly, the film looked great. Like, the cinematography is really good. I really like the camera work here. You get some sort of long takes as well for certain scenes, and that worked really nicely, kind of made it feel more authentic and really pulled you in. It's not the sort of film that really cuts away in action sequences. Like, you're going to see the sword here. It's pretty brutal, it's pretty gory, but I like that. It made it feel very authentic. The film sounded great as well. It had a cool soundtrack too. It's kind of eerie at times, but it certainly worked for this movie. And I like the use of visions. It stopped it from just being like a typical, historic tale. it actually added like a new element to it, and I like that it did this, and I like that it explored this whole idea of it's set, you know, fate is set, it's my destiny to complete this vengeance, because that adds another layer of what's driving this character, what's driving this protagonist to really complete what he believes is his journey. I really enjoyed this film. It allowed me to just get lost in a gripping story, a very well told story. I mean, revenge is a story that we've seen several times. There's so many movies that, you know, are based on revenge, or at least adopt some part of the story to do with revenge. But when it's done right, it's just always refreshing. It's always exciting to see a revenge story that's done right with characters that you can get behind. And this was enjoyable. This felt different. It had some twists. It had some cool ideas. I liked the way it wasn't just a movie that you expect to go a certain way. It threw in stuff that I didn't expect, and that's what made it even more enjoyable. For me, The Northman gets a 9 out of 10. This is a very good movie. You should go and watch it if you get a chance. It's really different. You know, I'm not sure if it's going to be for everyone because of the themes it explores, because of the fact that it is a bit odd with just the way these Vikings are and the whole thing with visions, but this is a good movie. This is a cinema. You know, this is something that you should go and see in the cinema, because this is proper filmmaking. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Joe Squared, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.